Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coaster Monkey Studios, back in Shenaniganilandia, and we've got a new coaster and a new area with all new theming. This is the new episode. So, welcome in. We're going to get started straight away. We are looking at Sleipnir. I can't say the name, and it's like, but yes, if I'm saying it wrong, tell me how to say it. I apologize. But yes, this is Sleipnir. So this whole area is going to be themed after Viking. We've been talking about this for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And we're very excited to bring a new coaster into the fold. Now, what does that mean? Well, we have this fantastic new style coaster that came in the Thrill Seekers update, right? And it is, it's a family thrill coaster. So my base inspiration came off of Dollywood's coaster, Big Bear Mountain. And I hope I said it right because I always confuse it with Great Bear. It's a thing. Great Bear Mountain, Big Bear Mountain. I'm so sorry if I screwed that up too. It's a day of screw-ups. It's a day of new screw-ups. How about that? So here we are. We have our coaster layout. I'm sparing you the 6 versions of this coaster that I cut. This was the final version, which I think came out really well. I must say there's just some solid elements that we were able to throw into this. I like that whole lake moment over the lake. I love a good water moment with any coaster. It really elevates the excitement. You know, you think of like Patriot. I think that's in Discovery Kingdom. It's an inverted coaster that has an amazing water moment where you're like swoosh right around the water or right over the water. It's just fantastic. So anyway, so here we are. We're getting this layout sorted. I do love this coaster builder way better than the first one. Now that I'm really playing with different elements that require off-axis turns and twists and kind of, how do we get that true kink in a track going from one turn to another, that creates that snap effect, if you will, when you're on the coaster, when you snap from left to right, think like Maverick, or what was Project 305, or before that was whatever 305. It's too many coasters, not enough names. I don't know. But yeah, so really the whole idea here was just to elevate, the experience within the park and create a really strong elemented coaster. And that's what I wanted to go after for this. We did a lot. This is about 2 weeks worth of work here. Obviously we had the newest update that dropped in, so we haven't had a chance to talk about that yet. The new update that came through, update for February. We got a new flat ride, which, again, super fun. I've ridden that flat ride back in, when I was at Coney Island. I rode that flat ride, amazing flat. And then we just got a bunch of stuff. We got a lot of TV screens. So you're going to see that in the next episode. We used the TV screens a couple of times in the next episode. We actually, if you go back to the last episode that we launched, where we talked about the new update, we did a photo booth for this coaster. We also did a photo booth for Kanaloa, which is our hyper coaster. So the TV screens are definitely in full effect. The game is definitely performing better. There are definitely some interesting nuances that I'm noticing, like the guests just walk everywhere. I said in my last video where we had set it up that our infrastructure outside with the parking is made with paths, right? So all of our guests are walking through all of our that. So we had to put up barriers to keep people from walking there. But I think overall the game is starting to feel more like Planet Coaster 1. Now we just need to bring back, the old pathing tool, or some semblance of the old pathing tool where you can do gridded pathing. I think that it would change the world. It would change the world for me. It would make it so much better. We'd be able to, create our, really great cues and make them easy and quick. Granted, there is a noding technique you can do where if you're merging nodes on a corner, it actually, or on a curve, it creates a corner, and then that corner can be manipulated. Let me know if you guys want a tutorial on that. I will put something together for you. It's on you. But talking about our build here, now we're now into the building phase, kind of what this area looks like. So this area, the main inspiration for this area is off of Drayton Manor's loosely themed, I would say, Viking area. There's some really great Viking stuff in Drayton Manor's park, right? So we use that as our basis. That's where this color wood came from. This fresh, light colored, new colored wood came from with the red X's. We have the red X's all throughout the area. And then we also layered in the Planko stuff, right? Because again, like Nerd Chacho says, and I stand fully behind this statement, I want to bake in my park into the world of Planet Coaster, but still having those elements of realism and make it feel like a real park. There are still things that we need to do to go back to. I want to go back and I want to do an advertisement pass. One thing in our industry where you know you're doing marketing and theming around your park is that there are going to be advertisements everywhere. You know, in my park in particular, we have subtle advertisements because it's a theme park, right? And there aren't as many moments to really brand. But what we do is we do have those elements of theming and branding and marketing around the park, and that's kind of, you know, the idea. Oh, that was the gate. This gate, you may be like, this gate doesn't look real. It's real. This gate really exists in real life. This is in Drayton Manor. It looks just like this. Kinda. That's the entrance to their area. I do need to build a portal for this area. We were talking about this last night, me and Nitro 285? Nitro's 230. Not 285. I don't know where I got that. 230 feet, because Nitro's 230 feet tall. Anyway, so Nitro 230. So we were talking about it last night, and I'm going to build an entrance moment into the Viking area. I think it's needed. We need to do a dual entrance moment because one side needs to be Viking, the other side needs to be Polynesian. So we need to figure out how we're going to pull that off. But that's a couple videos down the road. We are still working on this coaster and the area around this coaster. I actually just wrapped up all the supporting buildings for the main entrance, or I'm sorry, the exit area of this coaster. So there's like a what we're calling toilet bar. So it's a toilet with a bar attached. Ooh, wow, that was a hiccup. Excuse me. So we did that, and then we've got a gift shop that we created with a really gorgeous skylight. It's not a car. But yes, that's kind of the idea we went through there. So back into the build here. I gave you a very, very short snippet. Now, hear me out. I cut out a lot in this video, as not to bore you. This video is 28 minutes long, and if I would have kept everything in it, it would have been an hour long. And I did not want to succumb you to that. You know what I mean. Anyway, so what we've done here is, this is the only snippet of foliage and rocks, as you can see. And then my favorite thing to do is I like to place every single piece. It's my vibe. You create a stamp and then you place that around, right? And that's what I've done. And I think I really pulled off a very successful kind of rocky hillside here. This would be all the leftover pieces after they've come and they've dug stuff up and they've made room for the new coaster or the new area, whatever case may be, right? Because we're gonna say this is one of the newest coasters, if not the newest coaster in the park. That's why we made it feel so fancy schmancy. Though we did throw, and we didn't edit an episode for it, we did throw an elevator on the outside of the station, right? And you must be saying to yourself, well, that's for like old coasters. Yeah, it's for old coasters, but in this instance, it worked out. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. So here we are. We're building. Again, I wanted to bake it into the world, right? So we used a lot of the Viking pieces here. I think once I'm done with this park in full, I think I'm gonna go more into a generic kind of vibe. I really want to do a time period kind of park, or a time period pier park would be great. That's future me's problem. I'm going to exhaust all of these themes in this park, and then our next park is going to have more of that like future, like time period based experience, right? I'm very excited to do that. I grew up in the 80s. I grew up in the 80s going to theme parks, and I think 80s theme parks were they just hit different. You know what I mean? There was a vibe to them that It doesn't exist as much anymore in theme parks. It's a very different vibe now than it was then. But again, we wanted to embellish as much as possible. Now, one thing I will say is we do lose some footage at the very end of this build. We have a cantilevered roof that goes over the final brake run of the coaster, which is it's stunning. But we lost an entire chunk of video there. We did do that on a live though. So if you want to follow along, subscribe. I go live almost every day, or at least 4 times a week minimum. And on my days off that I'm not working my regular job, I'm on a live for a minimum of 4 hours. So there's definitely time there for you to join. So definitely hit like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Here we are making a fence out of axes. Yes, I said that correctly. We are making the fence out of axes. And my whole thought process here is I wanted something that would be, again, baked into the theme using the same textures. So we've got the same metal texture, we've got the wooden texture, and we created a really simple fence. You know, if I look back to, King's Dominion and how they've like themed out their whole Tumbili area, this would be something they would do, this type of an element of theming without it being theming. You know, it's really simple to put a cap on top of a post and call it theming, right? So that's what we did here, and I think we were super successful. You'll see as this is like built out, that's the only part you see of like the full fence, but you'll see it in our glamour shots towards the end. Again, I wanted to have variation between these two buildings. I used a lot of the design elements that are offered. We have a lot of the wall trims that were given to us for this particular theme. So I think it really worked out really well with those wall trims. I think they're fantastic. And they have a really solid look to them. And again, these neon lights, they're like my go-to. I use them for every build now. It's every build has these neon lights in them because it's just it's so real. You know, I can't count off the top of my head how many of those lights exist just in my building alone that I work in at my theme park. All right, so let's talk station build. So this station is really tall. I think I went too tall with it. I think moving forward, I'm going to start thinking about station height. And kind of where it falls in my park. You'll see that and we did another video with a dual coaster. So if you want to check that, it's a couple videos back. But we did build a dual coaster, and that dual coaster is much lower to the ground. And I think that's going to be something I'm going to be focusing on moving forward. How do we make stations that are lower to the ground a little bit more realistic, for lack of a better phrase? Building out our transfer track section here. These new pieces they put in the game, these are great for transfer tracks. I would definitely suggest utilizing them. They come in, you just type up supports and they'll pop up. But it's basically a transfer track, right? And it looks fantastic. I think it does exactly what it needs to do. We don't close off this area to the guests, so you can see this area when you're inside of the queue, not from the outside where the exit is, but you can see inside from the inside of the queue. And I thought it was just a really fun idea, you know, one of those realism elements for an amusement park where, yeah, we have stylized theming, but it's not like Disney where you're hiding things behind berms and, you know, using go away green and like all those crazy things, right? Shout out to Nerd Chacho for this one. This was totally his idea and I love it. These super quick and easy boxes, throw them right up. And they literally look like power boxes for the transfer track. We'll put another one over in both of our launch sections as well. We'll do that shortly. I don't know if we do it in the video though. I think I skipped that because again, I just showed you how to do it. Why would I show you again, right? And then the other thing I think I need to do to elevate this realism a little bit is I want to come back and I want to start looking at our queues and adding in misters to the queues. I think that is something that is super important and we need to bring back or bring into this particular build. There's a whole realism pass that I want to do. Maybe we'll do it, we'll designate an entire episode to a realism pass up to this point. Right, once we build out the Viking section, we'll just do a whole episode of all realism in the theme park, right? And I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll put in, like I said, the marketing stuff. We'll put in misters. We'll put in canopies. We'll put in more soda machines. just ways for us to expand and really hit home the feeling of this like realism vibe, right? Again, here we are with putting in those big X's. Now you'll see we do have these wooden bars that come down, and those start the framework for our actual roof structure for the station here. But I will say, so Drayton Manor's coaster for their section, I forget the name of it. It's the giant snake. The giant snake in Norse mythology. And I can't remember it. And I just played God of War 2, and he's in it. And I can't. Fenrir? No, Fenrir's the dog. Wolf, not dog. Anyway, so whatever. So this building is based on that, right? So it's got the red and white striped building. We did like a very basic kind of framework there, just to give it a little bit of je ne sais quoi. And then I wanted to have these equidistant, but we couldn't because of the way that the spacing was done for the queue on the inside. So what we wound up doing is just sticking them wherever they fit. Again, this was all built on live, so there was a lot of input here to kind of create the conversation around this build and how we wanted to do it. This live was probably like 2 weeks ago already. Oh my goodness. That's crazy to me. Because it feels like yesterday. Anyway, so one of the big things about this build, it had like these border trims that went around. They were very interesting the way that they were created, and I wanted to mimic that. I really liked the vibe of it, and it really helped us give some additional visual elements with very low cost. Right. So the framework goes all the way up. It creates this like mini roof, and then we can drop down some banners on it. Like, this is all my idea of how we can just embellish this a little bit further to give it a little bit more, like I was saying in my life, je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of zhuzh. So, and then this is where it started to get fun. So this particular jetty wood piece I've used a ton of times throughout our pirate build. And it just makes for a really great trim for the Viking area, right? Because it's got that like raw, rough edge, like it was handcrafted, right? And that's what I wanted this whole build to feel like. I want it all to feel handcrafted. And you'll see in the next episode, when we build our souvenir shop, the entire interior feels very woodsy, very handcrafted. If you want to check out those pictures, check out my Reddit, Coaster Monkey Studios on Reddit. You can see those pictures there. I just posted them last night. Last night at the time of this recording. I hate saying that. But yeah, so it came out really well. I'm super excited about how it all looks, you know, and this coaster being Sleipnir, which is Odin's horse with 8 legs that can travel to and from the underworld. I hope I did it right, Mio. Mio Art, if you don't follow her, Mio Art does some amazing stuff in Planet Coaster as well. She's a great builder. She did this giant Thor hammer she just posted yesterday for Mjolnir. I was just like, whoa. Anyway, this is a fun thing. So when you turn merging off for your pathing, you could actually, on a queue, put regular path, right? And then you can create a soda moment with like a garbage pail. That's what I did here. And I think it came out so good. And it's such a vibe, you know what I mean? I feel like I need to post that on Reddit too. People would go ham over that, huh? What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. So as this is building out, let's talk a little bit about the channel. So this coming weekend, I'm going to be away. So what I'm going to do is I'm cutting this video today. And then this will post on Sunday the 23rd. I think it's the 23rd. On Sunday the 23rd. And then we will have another video go out next Sunday, whatever date that is. I don't remember. It's the end of February. Those 2 videos will go live. I will have lives through this week. I don't have a schedule yet. I'll send out a schedule later on today. I'll post it on our Discord. If you're not a member of our Discord, check the link in the comments below or in the description below. You can join our Discord where we all get together. We share ideas, we share concepts, we share stuff that we've built. But yes, I'll post it there what the schedule looks like. I'll also post it in the community page here. Oh, there we go. The banners. Doesn't that look great? I love it. And yeah, so we could definitely get that sorted, and I'll communicate out to you guys when I'm going live this week. I've got a busy week this week with work, and then I'm away Saturday, Sunday, visiting family. So, but as we really start to embellish upon the building, I cannot stress enough. Trim work just really does wonders for your build. Look at what this red trim does to our staircases, right? And then we wind up taking that same trim along the floorboard and we bump it up, and that becomes the top of our railing. And it really gives that like Busch Gardens Williamsburg, or maybe even King's Dominion Grizzly kind of vibe. So, I mean, I love the way it looks and the way it came out. I hope you guys do. If you don't, I'm not changing it. But again, your feedback is so important to me. I want to hear what you guys think, what you guys have to say about the park. You know, tell me in the comments below. Join our lives. Give me your input, your feedback, anything that you think. We change, we make changes, we add, we edit. For instance, I think this fence was actually a suggestion from somebody. We were trying to figure out whether or not we wanted to use the mythological fence with the X in it, but then I realized it wouldn't work, right? So we had to make it this way, and this is a suggestion by somebody, and it comes out so well. We actually wound up changing this whole front area to fit in this elevator. Again, if you haven't seen that episode, it's a couple of episodes back. It literally says how I built a working elevator. Which I got some flack for because somebody said that my elevator video was clickbait. How? It's literally how I built the elevator. I don't get it. I'm not going to argue. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to just have fun, right? That's what we're here to do. We're here to have fun, play some video games together, maybe learn some stuff from each other. That's the whole point of all of this, right? So here we are. We're working on the interior now. So this... again, we don't have this in full, but you do get to see me build the interior and kind of what this looks like. Again, it's a simple L-shaped building. The brake run runs along the exterior of the building. Right past the building, you've got your transfer track, which then pushes you back into the building, which is the upper portion. And then on the front and back, there are roll gates that you could pull the coaster cars out of if you need to, for whatever maintenance that may look like. The interiors of these buildings are very flat. They're very flat white. There's no decor, there's nothing. So what I wound up doing is I wound up covering the walls in the corrugated metal, and doing this trick with the snap distance, right? If you do it at 0.25, you get a really great set of stairs that go down or up or whatever direction, right? So really fun stuff there. I really love the way this interior came out, and the fact that we were able to build multiple access points to this maintenance shed from the front, the back, and along the second level. So let's say you're on the second level, and let's say the coaster breaks down or needs to be like an evac off of that brake run. They can evac through the maintenance area, or they can evac along the catwalk if you want, right? But we did build this out with the intention that the entire first floor of your maintenance building is where all the maintenance happens, and your second floor is just where the coaster parks. And you know, our staff is able to get up there, our maintenance staff is able to get up there and fix the coaster. Like, that's 100% the idea here. I didn't want to think too much on it. Very simple, very basic. And my hat just booped the mic. I'm so sorry about that. But here we are. We're building this all out in the interior and keeping it stark white. And that's the whole point. We want it to feel stark white, right? One of my favorite parts about doing this is doing this floor trim, actually. And I actually mimic this in our store as well. And you know, like when you're in elementary school or junior high school or grade school or whatever, and they've got that weird black trim along the floor. That's to prevent scuffs from happening, right? From things bumping into the wall and like damaging the wall or the tile. That's why that exists. So we put that here inside of our maintenance building, and we are also going to do that inside of our store that you're going to see in the next episode. But love how this is all coming out. I love the way we did the triple or double or triple supporting along the center, right? Because there's a lot of support that'll happen in that middle section there. And then here's the roll gate. So Nitro 230, totally stealing this. Love that you're stealing it. It's essentially just a bunch of pieces that create a roll gate. That's it. Really simple. This particular support piece has rivets on it, which makes it even more believable that it's a roll gate, right? And I love that. We wind up using that now. I've used that now instead of using the metal bars that we did back in the very beginning of the series for Surf's Schnacks and stuff. So what we're doing here is we are creating the roll gate. We've got a chain on the roll gate. And then we're going to be using this style roll gate moving forward for all of our open air stores and food venues. And here we are with the light again. I love this light. Now we're getting into this collection. I'm about to show you this workshop item. Download it right now. Look at this. It is from Cyril Burns. I think that's the name. If I'm wrong, correct me, but I think it's Cyril Burns. It's so small on my screen. But look at this collection. And they keep adding to it. They have added a concrete barrel. They've added just so much stuff. You need to download the set. This is like the quintessential back of house set that you need until this game builds it, or we have Blender come back into the fold. This is the set. We've also got our rolling chair in there, as well as our folding chairs that we've used in the past. I'll link everything down below as well, so this way you guys have links to that. But I really just think this just helps us solidify the realism side of our build, right? Because maintenance areas are a hot mess. Like, trust. They're organized, but like it's organized chaos. So one of my big wins, I think, for this too, is that we were able to create this cantilevered roof. And again, you're not going to see it in this video, but we do build a cantilevered roof. We do, theme out the entire area around. We put these gorgeous columns. We add these banners. I think you'll see it in the glamour shots at the end. Speaking of glamour shots, we are not doing a coaster video. You're not going to get an on-ride POV this episode because half of the coaster still isn't fully built, right? So once we build that out, there'll be a coaster POV for that this coaster. That's the next step, right? So right now we're finishing up the area around the coaster station. Now we're moving over to where the entrance of the coaster is, and then we're going to move over to where the back end of this coaster is, where it wraps around. Really cool wrap around with a giant long ship and like all this other stuff. But yeah, super proud of this area. I hope you guys like what we're doing with the Viking stuff. It does feel very Planko, but in the same sense, it doesn't feel very Planko. And I wanted to have that weird, like, in between kind of vibe. And that's the point. That's what I want it to feel like. I'm still getting comfortable with the game again. I'm getting comfortable with the pieces in the game. I'm getting comfortable with the style of the game. So if you like what you see here, guys, I appreciate you so much for making it to the end of the video. Like, follow, subscribe if you wish. It's up to you. It's really on you. I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. The channel keeps growing. So many more of you have been joining. So let's keep the progress going. Thank you so much, friends. Have a great one. Catch you in the next one. Thanks so much. Ciao.